Today on the Cooligans, we're talking about Inter Miami.
That's right. They're getting sued, baby.
There's not really sued. There's a little legal debate.
Yeah. Also, we're talking to Emily Olsen, SiriusXM FC, and also ProSoccerUSA.
Okay.
That's right.
We have a great conversation with her at the United Soccer Coaches Convention. So all this and more today on the
Cooligans! Yeah, baby!
Okay. I don't know what that's about, but clearly Alexis is having issues at home.
I think I'm losing my mind.
Get some rage issues.
At the time of this recording, I will have gone 24 hours without eating.
Yes.
Yeah. So your boy is starting to flip out a little bit.
For someone who loves food so much, why would you deprive yourself?
Oh, baby. I need you in my life. Comida. Prettiest girl I ever saw. Comida.
Anyway. Hello, everyone.
Was that TKA that just came out of my mouth? I'm losing my mind.
My name is Christian Polanco.
Yes, it is. And I'm going crazy. I'm Alexis Guerrero.
All right, we are the Cooligans. We are your favorite stand-up comedians that host the funniest soccer show that you have ever seen.
And heard.
And heard.
All right. And it's not just that, it's also the gulliest that you've seen and heard.
You are using your eyes and your ears to acknowledge how gully it is.
That's right. And when 3D podcasts and TV shows come out, you'll be able to touch as well.
With the gulliest show you can touch.
That you can feel.
So, yes, a lot going on.
How have you been, Christian?
I'm fine. I just ate a Kit Kat a couple seconds ago.
I know. Wow, disrespectful. You stared at me the whole time.
Okay. Well, I'd rather not talk about your eating disorder. Anyway, so let's talk about a couple things going on in soccer.
Let's go.
Specifically, the MLS expansion team, Inter Miami, who maybe not be Inter Miami for too much longer.
Why they should just go by International Miami? What's the difference?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. Technically, legally, there are differences in that, right? So
Inter is something that Inter Milan can say they own. They have the legal rights to it.
Yes.
Also, in the U.S., they were that sharp that they went out. They're like, "Yo, we're gonna trademark out here as well."
Yeah, but that's a common thing, right? You see it like on Shark Tank, right? They go up to the sharks.
Of course, we all watch Shark Tank.
They say, "Hey, I have a patent here and in China,
right.
wherever people are ripping off products,
right?
That's where you need to get a patent.
We are secure from being ripped off in these three countries.
No, but this is a setback for Inter Miami because Inter Milan is challenging their ability to use the name Inter before whatever it is that they want to call themselves.
It was almost as if this name wasn't vetted properly.
They were like,
"Oh, now you tell us after we got the sharks printed."
We were gonna call it Arsenal Miami.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Nah, let's not do that one."
So Paris Saint Miami is not allowed. You're saying?
They don't even sound the same.
Come on.
It says Miami right there at the end. You can't tell.
Can't you see right next to where we scratched off Paris?
So in a court, the judge had ruled that as far as the argument about Inter Miami saying like, no, there won't be any confusion between the two teams.
Well, here's the thing: no one calls them Inter.
Yeah,
they do call them Inter Miami.
Correct.
And you can't confuse Inter Miami with Inter Milan.
No, you never will.
People are like, wait, Miami? Is that a neighborhood in the Milano district? No. People know what we're talking about.
But that's the case that they lost. They lost their first argument in basically saying that it wouldn't cause any confusion. Right. And the judge ruled, no, it would
crazy.
cause... You crazy.
No, man, that's the same word, dog.
I don't even watch soccer, but I know English.
Yeah. I mean, it's spelled the same. It looks the same.
It's just too many similar syllables.
Yeah.
And so they lost that first argument. So I believe the next challenge will be
a street fight, which I gotta be honest, I think Miami got this one.
Battle for the Inter. So no, this is a big issue because they might have to change. I mean, obviously the branding, who knows, the logo.
Yeah,
there could be a lot.
The logo stays because it says Club International, no Club Football. What is it again?
CF.
Club?
I think it's CF. CS.
Yeah. They don't have to change the logo. They just have to change what they wanted to use as their nickname.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying there's a lot of branding with obviously that the name is there, and so I
think now's the chance to rename the team, though, right? I mean, if you had some worry about the name, now we can go with the Fidel wouldn't let us do this FC.
Interesting approach. Interesting approach.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
What wouldn't he let you do?
Everything. Have you spoken to an old Cuban? You go to the supermarket, you hear, Fidel wouldn't let us do this. Picking your own parking spot. Fidel wouldn't let us do this. Everything. Going to church. Having a meal.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm glad we got it.
Ejaculating. All of it. Fidel wouldn't let you do any of it.
Yeah, so wow. Fidel had his hands in everything, apparently.
Well, not in that, just so that no one has, you're not allowed to.
Doesn't want to arouse anyone. I'm curious to see how this will turn out, because I have a feeling they will lose.
But I don't think it's really that big of a deal if you just can't use Inter,
Okay, but they have to. So, all right. So
what if they say Club Inter? Club Inter.
I don't know. I think they still might lose that kind of case. That's what I'm saying. It's too similar. But
you do. You throw a silent H. Throw a silent H in there.
Miami.
Not in the Miami part. In the Inter part. Does that say Hinter? Yeah, but the H is Spanish, though.
Oh, you got.
Don't you know Spanish, my G?
You're being racist right now.
No. Wow, Ron Jans.
So I hope it works out, because I like the name. I like the name Inter Miami. It's just a dope name.
I don't think it's necessary. Who cares? Move on. Change. Oh, you got to burn a couple shirts? Get out of here.
Really? Is that simple?
Yeah.
Speaking of Miami, the other thing, two big things with the club. Obviously, they officially announced their DP.
That's right.
Rodolfo Pizarro,
which is a huge get from Monterrey.
Huge get, which was interesting because he
There's a picture of his foot. Oh, there he is. That's for all you Quentin Tarantino fans out there. Hell yeah, get up in them toes, dog.
I thought it was Uma Thurman for a second.
Is the clock set to 4:20 behind him?
No, but a huge signing, obviously, and obviously a lot of drama from leaving Monterrey and getting to Miami. But then the other thing that was interesting was that he played in their preseason match before he was announced. He scored in their preseason match before he was officially announced.
Like, goal scored by you know who. Can't really say.
This guy, his hair is silver.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was Anderson Cooper.
Right.
I do not know.
His last name rhymes with Hisaro.
Pronounce the H.
Boo. Racist.
All right, we'll be back with Emily Olsen after this, everybody.
Hey, baby, we are back. I'm excited about this because we had a great conversation with Emily Olsen.
That's right. Emily Olsen, a writer for ProSoccerUSA, and you've heard her. You could basically hear her every day.
She's like a producer and co-host of the United States of Soccer with Jason Davis, the homie, on SiriusXM FC. And we talked to her a little bit about sort of the difference between writing and sort of finding her voice on satellite radio.
Yeah. So we had a great conversation with her. This was at the United Soccer Coaches Convention.
We've said United a lot here.
Which we were at in Baltimore a couple weeks ago. And we have a lot of conversations about the medium, about DC United, a lot of stuff, because she is a beat reporter for DC United as well. So here's our conversation with Emily Olsen.
Yeah, we are still at the U.S. Soccer Coaches Convention. United Soccer Coaches Convention.
Yes, I got to correct them every single time.
It's not the U.S. Soccer Coaches Convention. Well, I'm starting that conference. Hey, it's not going to be in Baltimore, I'll tell you that. No, wonderful town. And look, we keep saying it. I mean, the stars that walk by here are just amazing. And one day we'll interview one. But for now, no, this is a homie of the show.
That's
We're
right.
We're going to create a list of homies of the show.
Yeah, there's guests.
Yeah.
And there's homies.
There's fam, which is like, you've been here long enough. But then there's homies like you who we're really texting when we go to your city. The fam is like, we don't want to see you. We'd rather chill with the homies, all right? But right now, I mean, one of the best writers in American soccer, covers DC United as well, and a producer at SiriusXM FC. And there was something else. I forgot.
Writer for ProSoccerUSA.
I did say it already. I was a writer for ProSoccerUSA.
Okay.
Oh, and it's at ProSoccerUSA.com. I put some respect on that name because they don't know how to buy a handle that closely affiliates people with the business name. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together unless you're driving for the one, the only, Emily Olsen.
Emily, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. I mean, it was good until I got here, but everything else has been good.
Okay, good.
No, I'm honored to be a homie. That is
you're one of the homies.
That is a true honor.
You got bullet holes in your car, and that's not a joke.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
She 100%. Someone hit the car with the ratchet.
Well, look, what can you say? Emily has a lot of enemies.
The reason I'm okay parking here on the street was, the cred that my car has.
Yeah, exactly. Because you made. You get out the car and they're like, yo, she one of us, dog.
Emily, we met you. The first time we met you was when you came to New York,
right.
And you were in town for doing something with SiriusXM. But we should start with the fact that you work with a friend of ours, right? Who with Jason Davis of United States of Soccer, and I'm sorry. First of all, I think that's where we should start.
Well, can we talk about how you labeled him a friend and not a homie? I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I made that abundantly clear.
Yeah, I hope he hears this.
We have, I keep him at arm's length. You know what I'm saying? But Jason Davis been involved in American soccer for a long time. What is it like working on the show, producing that show, and being a part of one of the few American soccer shows that is like it's on the radio. It is we have it for every other sport, right? Yeah. Where people can call in or whatever and yell at the doom. You're giving the wrong opinion, Yeah. What is it? You have to field those calls?
Yeah.
What is it?
What do I say? I'm Ben from Cleveland. Jason doesn't know what he's talking about. All right. Well, you're just behind Steve from Cincinnati, who thinks Jason doesn't know what he's talking about.
What is that job like for you?
Yeah. So I was in soccer for 3 years before that, mostly as a beat reporter, mostly doing journalism, and then the opportunity came to go to Sirius, and like you said, it's one of the only 24-hour talk radio stations on soccer. If you go to Sirius, you get the NFL, you get NHL, but you also get soccer. And like you're saying, the unique part of United States of Soccer is it has that figure that is polarizing, and that's important because every sport has one. And I feel like you as a sport have made it into the American sports culture when you have people that are sitting there disagreeing, being angry, because the opposite of love isn't hate, it's ambivalence. You want people to disagree, to have passion, and that's I love it because I love seeing that side of it. Not just, we're here at the United Soccer Coaches Convention, and
it's the United States Soccer Coaches Convention.
United States of Soccer Coaches Convention.
Calm.
But it's nice to see all the technical side and a lot of youth soccer. But what you get from listening to Sirius and all the shows on it is people seeing it as entertainment, not just something their kids do, but seeing it as a legitimate form of entertainment.
Okay.
So, right. It's not a way to just tire your kids.
So it's a lullaby to rock them.
Make your kids run around a little bit, a couple headers. They talk back less. It's not exactly what it is. Soccer can be a big fun entertainment sport. And I think SiriusXM FC does an incredible job of that. What is when you look at your career, you're looking at yourself as a writer, and you've been writing for how long now?
So this will be, I don't know how to do seasons to year because math is hard, but this will be going into my 6th season covering DC United. In the last two years, I've kind of branched out into doing national team, both on the men's and women's side. Yeah. And the last 2 years, I've also done Washington Spirit stuff in NWSL.
So you're really expanding as a writer as well, but you're also kind of now finding a bit of a voice on that, what we'll call radio, right? Where do you see the future of your career? Like, do you want to write more? Do you want to be more of a voice in the game? Because I think one of the reasons why we like talking to you so much is because a voice like yours is so sorely missing in this game, which is just a woman's voice who kind of understands the sport and talks about it from a men's and women's perspective unabashedly. And I know there's a lot. I'm not saying you're the only one, but someone like that on SiriusXM FC you don't hear that all the time.
Yeah, and it's not the fact that those women don't exist out there as in anything. Those voices don't not exist. It's that they aren't at the forefront. And so I don't yet see myself that way. I don't see myself as that voice yet. I don't know what it is, but I don't see myself there.
But you certainly see that there's maybe a potential if you keep going to be that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can be the Stephen A. Smith of soccer.
Oh, dude.
We can leave that to Jason, and I'll be whatever kind of calms and down.
Scream louder than Jason.
Because
Emily's like, this is preposterous. Did you put 17 syllables in preposterous?
But to answer your question as far as where is it going, that kind of stuff, I'm still, my background is in reporting. My background is in writing. Anything that I say, I want to be a voice that connects people in the game. So, if you see yourself in a player, that's great. If you see yourself in one of the players that I cover through a story, whether it's finding out about something on the field, their struggle, how they got to where they are, or even if it's, I guess if it's myself, if you see yourself in someone and you share that common love, which is soccer, I think that's the point. And so anything in my career that can take me to a place, whether it's through myself, which is something I'm a little less comfortable with, or through the stories that I write, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
See, now here's my advice to you, and I know you've been waiting, right? Bated breath. Here's my thing, and here's why I prefer talking over writing. 1, effort, much less. 2, when you write, you get to talk shit when you talk. When you write it, it sounds so mean.
It
hurts. Other people see it.
Whoa! What is this? What is this manifesto?
I know, right? It doesn't go away either. 5 years later, you just Google those words, and that article comes back up. It hurts so much. When I say something, we all kind of laugh at the end, and it didn't hurt as much, right?
Absolutely.
Or at least I think until you talk to people 5 years later, right? What is it about writing that you don't see, or why is it that you connect yourself to writing so much? Is it just because what you love to do? Or for me, it's I'd much rather talk than write, because talking is it kind of just disappears, and I get to do it again tomorrow, you know?
I'm starting to like talking more. I'm starting to get more into that. But the reason, I started in writing, and then the other thing is, as much as you can maybe hear that tone or that sarcasm in my voice, which isn't the goal, you can, I feel like in my writing I can portray someone else's story better. Yeah. So you can sit and listen to me, and especially with social media where everyone is able to tell their own story.
Right. So
you
annoying.
Can sit and listen to me. It's, where's my job going? You can sit and listen to me on the radio, give my take, but if I want to actually tell the story of the people that I'm covering, which is, I would say right now, 60% of what I want to do, it's easier for me to kind of describe the way, yesterday, or 2 days ago at the NWSL draft, the first overall pick, at one point started crying when someone asked her a question, because she couldn't believe
the question was, can you cry on command?
Yeah. The question was, whatever happened to your dog? It just starts crying.
That's also a thing. But Sophia Smith was talking about the advice she would give her younger self, and I was able to write, her eyes welled up with tears of joy, which is a little cliche, but it's true. And I feel like when you're reading that and then you read her exact words, you kind of hear it from her more than it's me. So it's a
There's
balance
a meaningfulness
between,
to it. Yeah. Oh, look at you caring. Ew, Emily.
I think Alexis's question was generally, why do books exist? Why?
Just tell me what happened.
There's so many apostrophe S's. You can't handle it.
Yeah, dude. Parentheses, whatever.
Semicolon.
Yeah. Ew. Be a whole colon, dude.
Get your semicolon checked.
Ain't no such thing as halfway colons.
right, welcome back. And we are
That's right.
still with Emily Olsen.
Look at me. I'm relaxed right now. That's how great this conversation is.
Yes, you're just tuning in with the clicker.
Yeah.
Having a great time.
Yo,
watching-
babe, could you bring me the sandwich?
I'm watching Emily Olsen.
I left it like just past where my hand is. Would you mind?
Well, lovely relationship you have.
That's when she throws the sandwich at me. I don't know if you guys have met my wife before.
But yes, Emily Olsen, like I mentioned before, she's a beat reporter for DC United. So we talk about DC United with her right now.
Let's talk real quick about DC United. You've been covering the team for a long time. A couple big moves. Edison Flores, Peruvian national, joining the team.
The team took him to a Peruvian restaurant, which is kind of dope.
Apparently not the best one though. Bill Hamid had his voice on Twitter. He clapped back. He said that. I personally don't
took him
know.
to Peruvian
I don't know
restaurant.
what Bill Hamid's preference in Peruvian chicken is,
Right.
but it's not where they went.
Yeah,
So.
and for those of you who don't know Bill Hamid, he's the Peruvian national team player. And also chef. Shouts to Bill Hamid. I'm all here for food hot takes. Only reason I started a soccer podcast.
I don't care if I ain't from your country. I know your food.
Yo, that's the best Ethiopian restaurant. How come no one asked me?
So it's interesting the transition from Wayne Rooney leaving to now DC United. Look, as far as we were there, we did a live show at Audi Field, which was super fun. But the transition from Wayne Rooney to now, it's looking like DC United compared to the last couple years, where they weren't really signing big players, they weren't making those big moves, and now I guess after Rooney, it's like, all right, now we're going to go.
Somebody's grandma died. We got a lot of money.
They're spending. I mean, it seems like they no longer want to be this like irrelevant club that they were, dealing with for the last couple of years. So what has been maybe is it just Audi Field? Was that the thing that kind of triggered everything to take everything more seriously?
Well, you mentioned someone's grandma dying. I'm still trying to figure out where the money came from because they let Rooney go on a free.
Yeah.
He went to Derby County, who is in danger of being relegated.
Okay. All right.
On a free. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But,
That's it's like if your man left you for like a girl who's going back into rehab. Come on.
But yeah, so you see this transition. I think that what happened with DC United over the last couple years is that they're MLS original, and they have been trying for so long. Jason Levian, as soon as he got to the club, wanted to get that stadium done. They wanted to get out of RFK that, we saw Pablo's reports, Pablo Maurer, that there's asbestos and lead. They wanted to get out of there.
Sure.
And to this new stadium. What happened? It happened quickly. Things were kind of rushed. They weren't really sure how they were going to go from missing the playoffs the previous year to becoming a real contender. And in 2018 in July, that solution was Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
And he came there, the marketing was there. He gave his all for a year and a half and then decided not to, but gave his all and put them on the map as far as marketing and playing. They went from last to first. It was a great story. All happened. They kind of lucked into it.
It all seemed to work out.
Yeah, and then a season and a half later, they're sitting here without Wayne Rooney, who wants to go home because of family. Luciano Acosta, who kind of got pushed to the side because he wasn't fitting into that formula anymore, is leaving. Lucas Rodriguez, who I think had the possibility to be a breakout star, absolutely, if they got that loan deal done. All these players are gone. They're trying to sit back. They have their feet under them now, and it's how are we going to move forward in a way that's going to last? Because Rooney was a short-term solution at the end of the day. I mean, even if he did stay the full time, he wasn't going to be there more than 2.5 seasons, maybe 3 at best, maybe a marketing, but that all went away. So Edison Flores is a look at what DC is trying to do in the long term. He's 25. He is in the peak of his career, did fantastic in Liga MX, and is a Peruvian national team. He played, I believe, every game in Copa America last year. Mm-hmm. He is going to slot in, play centrally, unless they're able to get a number 10 deal across with another player. He's going to slot in centrally. They're going to have Yamil Assad. They're going to have Paul Areola and Ola Kamara in the attack. They're looking at something that is long term for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah. This is like the first time in a long time that I'm like, yo, DC United, it's exciting.
It's a signing for the future, which I don't think Rooney was. Rooney was a signing for right now.
Yeah.
But it's because if you think about it, you're opening something new. You're showing something off. You guys moved to TV. You want a big star as your first guest. You want to show people this is cool.
Our first guest was Grant Wall.
Which is a big
super
star.
Right? I think you could hear the helicopter taking off as soon as the interview was over.
But you want to introduce. We're here. Look at our shiny new stuff. And now it's like, all right, we put all our chips in trying to get that.
Yeah.
And now it's how do we make this sustainable?
And because Edison Flores, is he going to get asses in the seats the same way that Rooney did? Because I think that's still a concern for DC.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's a concern for every team. I mean, when you look at the not official but pretty much official Chicharito to LA Galaxy, they had to do that. Because LAFC came in, and they're one of the few teams, I think even Vela, as far as outside of that soccer bubble, isn't getting people in seats. It was because they had stars. They had very beautiful soccer. They were playing. They were fun. And LA Galaxy went to the wayside. They got Zlatan because they needed him. And now they got Chicharito because they need him. They have Pavone. Pavone's not going to give them seats. Chicharito will get people in seats. They will bring up the level to even the playing field because they're not going to play LAFC football or soccer. And if you look at around the league, that's happening. And DC United isn't there yet. I don't see it happening this season. Mesut Ozil was an option for a little bit. He's not. He's too expensive. As an Arsenal fan, you know that.
Yeah.
But you
will get the coffee shop.
The coffee shop, which is really crucial.
It's on hold.
Oh
no!
I have been told it's still brewing. It's called 39 steps. I think they're at the 30th step.
Oh damn!
Okay, wow.
No, they were gonna open it up.
That's an interesting rehab program. That's a lot of effort.
It's apparently the amount of steps. It's the amount, and that's not because I'm a guest.
How many people you apologizing to in the 33rd step?
Wow, you really hurt a lot of people.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so that's on hold because they're just not ready for it. There's a lot of development. That's probably not. You're not going to get Ozil's coffee anytime soon.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
Damn. So much happening. The thing that I love about DC, as far as DC United is concerned, is we're talking about a club that was a dynasty when MLS started. Constantly winning. Even thinking back to how the logos were created, DC United was like, we're going to go our own way. We're not going to use, like the American designer. They went out and got a European designer, and like even the badge and it feels so like more European and more classic. Something about the club has always felt like they had everything right. And then we get to now, and everything still feels like a lot of it is in flux. For someone who follows the team, are the waters calming a bit more? Do you see like there's a direction?
I think there's a direction on the field. I think that DC United, like you're saying, gets a lot of excuses because they are that traditional team. So it's like, all right, you guys have been here the longest. We'll let you slide. We'll let you slide. I think they're realizing they can't slide anymore.
Yeah.
And again, Flores is one of those. A couple of the other signings that are brewing that haven't happened yet are in that direction of trying to catch up because they can't slide anymore. I think there are aspects overall at the club that are still in flux, definitely, and I don't know how long they'll be there.
Yeah.
But on the field, as far as playing style, but they're heading in that direction.
Yeah,
that's good.
And Ben Olsen will save the day, and everyone will love him again.
Yeah. I can't wait in 30 years when I look back at my career and Ben Olsen is still the manager of DC United. What's up, babies? We back. I don't know.
Why'd your voice just crack?
I think I'm too relaxed, to be completely honest with you. Or it could be the delirium from not having eaten. But we have a great conversation so far with Emily Olsen. And this part is also great because she's not only someone who covers DC United very well, but she also covers the NWSL and the Washington Spirit.
Correct.
So we talked to her about that in this part. NWSL. Now you're covering the Washington Spirit a bit more. We went to the NWSL final, and it feels like there's like and maybe it's just a World Cup bounce. I want to know your opinion. It feels like there's something fun. Feels like there's like a new level of energy that's being sort of created around NWSL. It feels like it's just going to continue to go up from here. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's just a World Cup bounce?
And I'll add this for the Washington Spirit. Are they? they played games at Audi Field. Is that an idea or plans to make that permanent, or no? Or adding to that, go for it.
So they played 2 games last year at Audi Field against Orlando Pride and Reign FC, and those are 2 teams heavily. They've got World Cup players, Ali Krieger, Ashlyn Harris, and then if the Reign, Megan Rapinoe. So
speaking of homies, all 3.
Your homies. And they broke the records. The year before they tried it, with the opening of Audi Field, they got 7,000. Last year they had 2 performances that averaged 18,000.
That's
both
incredible.
reaching sellouts
Wow.
for Audi Field. And so what that did, and the Spirit's under new ownership, they have a new coach in Richie Burke. Their goal is to. What I'm getting from the team is their goal is to move into a place like Audi Field, not because the Soccerplex is bad, but because there is that interest. People in the DC area want to watch them. If you look at the Soccerplex, which is where they play or played before, it's about an hour outside the city into Maryland, and it holds about 5,000 people. And if they're averaging these, I think there's definitely that World Cup bump. You talk about the World Cup players involved, but I think that people get there and there's an excitement still, and they go there and it's really good soccer to watch. Richie Burke has a team playing a very fun attacking style that he wants them to go for goal, and that has them losing a couple games 1-0, but they're really trying and they're playing attacking. So this season they've worked out a deal which is, I think, on the lower side of amount of games they want to play at Audi Field. It's 4, 4, and 4. So they have 4 home games at Audi Field. They're going to play 4 at the Maryland Soccerplex, and then they have 4 at Segra Field, which is again an hour but into Virginia, where Loudoun United plays. And the additional part of that, which is the biggest, is that they are kind of working with DC United, a partner, to use their training facility. So DC's opening that new Leesburg training facility in September, and they're going to have their own section of it. They're going to be able to train and really be treated like professional athletes, because I don't know if either of you have ever been to the Soccerplex.
No.
But there's my favorite quote came from DeMarcus Beasley when they played an Open Cup game there, because DC United would play their Open Cup games at Maryland Soccerplex. There was a youth volleyball tournament going on inside. So the players were literally curtained off and getting mixed in with these. DeMarcus Beasley was rubbing elbows with youth soccer, like volleyball, moms and dads, youth players, and he just went off about how this isn't professional. And that,
I remember that.
You look at it, and that's where the Spirit plays, and it's a fantastic facility, but it just doesn't have the capacity to treat these women like the professionals that they are.
And they deserve that, for
Rose
sure.
Lavelle plays for them.
Yeah.
You know, and Andy Sullivan just got called up. These women are World Cup stars, breakout stars. They're going to be Andy Sullivan has the potential to be the captain of the U.S. women's national team, and they're playing in this facility. So again, nothing
like
against
Rose Lavelle,
it,
even if you don't know her as a soccer player, she's an Instagram star. Her dog is an Instagram star.
Respect her.
She should have her own section.
Well, we've seen what's going on with Sky Blue FC and that move to Rebel Arena. So it seems like what a great model, what a great opportunity for some of the other NWSL clubs that do work with MLS teams to just like, man, I saw the sellouts and just the numbers at Audi Field for the Spirit games, and it's great. It just seems like it would make the most sense, right? Just like to go for it. So I just like we were just at the NWSL draft, and you saw all the energy for Sky Blue, and it's like the Washington Spirit could be that. Have that kind of momentum now.
And what a change from the last NWSL draft we were at, where players were like, I'm not playing for Sky Blue.
Yeah.
They were getting picked. And now it's like, that's the club you want to be at. Everyone's like, there's such a fever pitch around it. Maybe this is something that you're not familiar with because you handle mostly DC sports, but maybe because you cover NWSL, you can help us understand it a little bit more. When we were in Los Angeles, there was like all this excitement about LAFC potentially having a women's team. And then that sort of died down. And someone had told us that there's like a bit of an issue because the way NWSL is as a business, like you have to buy into NWSL or something like that. Are you familiar with that situation at all?
I don't know the specifics about the buying into it, but with LAFC, they have Mia Hamm as part of their ownership.
Yeah, and she was like a big proponent of it.
And they really want it. The thing with NWSL, what they're dealing with right now is their involvement with U.S. Soccer and how U.S. Soccer funds part of the league, what's happening there. And also, it wasn't long ago that the Boston Breakers folded because they didn't have the support. So I think right now, you see Louisville, they're going to come in 2021. They'll be here next season. There'll be an expansion draft. You'll see that. And I think we've heard comments earlier from executives at NWSL that they're looking towards expansion. But I think you have to look at the World Cup bump and be careful about that. But then also, all of these teams are trying to figure out the best way to go about it because it's not uniform. It's not like the rest of the world. You have Chelsea and Chelsea women's team, and Chelsea has boatloads of money from wherever.
Sure.
Back pockets, wherever it's coming from.
Just share some.
And if they want to boost their league, they just got Sam Kerr. They have money that they can throw at it. Whereas these NWSL teams, some are, if you look at the Portland Thorns and Timbers, some work like that. You look at Utah Royals and RSL. They're together. But then you look at DC United, Spirit. They're two separate entities that are partnering together. Or you look at the Courage and North Carolina FC. That's a USL club. Or the same with Louisville. So there's not a uniform way for these clubs to, and I don't think they all should because you've seen it fail in certain places in Florida.
Right. Do it your own way.
There isn't this uniform way of money or ownership being put in, and I think that's also something that owners are trying to figure out, as well as getting league sponsors. So I think it's more about pace and figuring out to make it sustainable, rather than just kind of. It's the cool thing now because Atlanta was also in the conversation. You don't want it to be the cool thing now for an MLS team to have an NWSL team, but if they're willing to actually invest, you do. So I think it's a little bit of that.
Right. I mean, also people kind of expect that NYCFC will have them because they have a girls' academy. So it's like if you have a women's academy, wouldn't it make sense to have a top flight team for them, or just a professional team for them to aspire to play to, as opposed to just have sort of a development with no angle?
Yeah.
So you make these sort of like. As a fan, you make these connections. You're like, oh, yeah, MLS team will just have a women's team, but then it doesn't necessarily work that way. So hopefully there's a way that they can come together a little bit more.
Okay, we are back. And we
baby.
are still talking to Emily Olsen at
right.
the United Soccer Coaches Convention.
Great conversation so far.
We're having a blast, and we now talk about. We get into the Olympics. The U.S. Women's National Team just recently qualified. They won the CONCACAF.
They destroyed everybody.
They more than one.
Yeah.
And we talked to her about those upcoming Olympics.
What are you hopeful for with the Olympics coming up? I know there's a big push for a lot of these players to get in. Carly Lloyd is trying her hardest to get in.
Yeah.
Alex Morgan is still training as if she's not 6 months pregnant.
She's going to play in the Olympics
Let's
pregnant.
go. Yeah, she'll can. For water breaks, give her a red so she can go in and take care of that.
Serena Williams won things pregnant,
Yeah.
so I think Alex Morgan can absolutely do it.
If anyone can, we got it.
And I also think that she'll have the baby by the time the Olympics roll around.
Yeah,
so
but
she's not going to be 12 months pregnant at the Olympics.
But
You never know. My mom, I was in there for like 16 months, dude. It was comfortable. Came out with a cigar.
The Olympics.
What are you looking forward to with the Olympics? Is that something you want to cover?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not going to get over to Tokyo this year. That's fine.
Yeah.
But to cover it from here,
you changed where you're summering?
I summer in Tokyo from time to time, but I switched it this year.
Yeah.
No, I'm interested again to see how NWSL manages it. The Olympics on the women's side is much bigger than it is on the men's side.
Yeah.
On the men's side, it's the under 23s with the 3 over. The women's side, it's a 28-person roster with your top players, and you're trying to win it. And the United States is trying to do something that they've never done before, which is World Cup to Olympics gold.
Yeah.
I think that's exciting. I think that push is exciting. I think you change your head coach and the tactics, and it adds that refresh while keeping some of the players. Like, I am not going to bet against Carly Lloyd ever.
Never.
Would definitely see her. I mean, she was on a panel this morning and left right away to go train. So I have no. I would say she's going to be on
in the middle of a question.
I gotta start my mile.
Sorry. She actually jogged.
She'll be back.
She jogged to Philly, dude.
But so I'm excited, one, to see that from a distance, but then again to see how NWSL handles it, because there's plenty of the Spirit just traded Mallory Pugh to Sky Blue during the draft to get get 3 picks this year, 1 next year. One of the picks they got is Ashley Sanchez from UCLA, and she left school as a junior, which her and the number 1 pick, Sophia Smith, left as a sophomore. This is something new you're seeing as well. These women, there's allocation money, there's a chance for them to stay domestic and start their career at the peak. So I'm excited to see an Ashley Sanchez, who's on the cusp of the national team, grow during the NWSL season while, say, her teammates Rose Lavelle and Andy Sullivan are at the World Cup, and how these players grow, because I think there are more young players coming in, and I think that during these international competitions, you see other players step up. For the Spears specifically, it was Ashley Hatch stepping up with Mallory Pugh gone, and you see them. They're just on the cusp of making the national team, but everyone can't make it. And that's when you really see these players. Midge Purse on the West Coast, she stepped up. So you see these players kind of step up, and it's almost a higher level. I mean, the NWSL has the level and the interest to be the best league in the world. And I think when some of these national team players, when you don't have the stars and you actually sit and watch the games, those are the competitive ones. Yeah. Because, everyone's trying to get noticed. Everyone sees the opportunity to step up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So many changes happening.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about especially the Olympics. I mean, the last Olympics was the U.S. lost against Sweden, right?
2014.
Was that what was the one where Hope Solo said all the trash about Sweden, and then there was this now rivalry about basically not respecting them. So a lot to look forward to this
Hope
year.
Solo would do that.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad this was.
Where can people follow you?
Yeah, we didn't know what we were going to talk about. We made stupid jokes and we got real information as well. So that we best of both worlds. So
Emily sat there while we were done, and then she finished her sentence. It was great.
True professional. So Emily, where can people follow you and where they can see your work?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Emily T. Olsen, Olsen, spelled like Ben Olsen, no relation.
That's what they say, but I don't believe it.
That's how I got my job. Or you can follow the people that I work for, which is ProSoccerUSA.com on Twitter and Instagram.
Seems efficient.
Or you can listen. I jump on air with Jason from 12 to 3 on SiriusXM FC channel 157.
Yeah.
Okay. Emily Olsen, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you again, Emily Olsen, for joining us on the show. We had a great time talking to her.
Hey, Jason, let her talk more on the show, huh? Quit your gabbing.
Wow, okay. Shots fired at Jason Davis.
Man, trying to hold Emily down.
We're going to create this narrative.
We've been hired by Barca.
So, yes, both great people. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about another subject that we hate talking about, but
it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away, but it's not gonna. If we don't point it out, who will? Right? We have to talk. So there was a match, a Porto match.
Yeah, Porto versus I think it's Gumieres. I can't remember pronounce the other word.
So
Victoria Gumieres.
It honestly, it looks like Gumar.
Yeah. Just a couple of side pieces out there, kicking the ball around.
Side piece FC against Porto.
We love you, side pieces. We do. We love you, side pieces. We do. We love you, side pieces. We do. Shh! Please don't tell my wife.
Why not? It's quite a chant. It's quite a chant. So, okay. On a more serious note,
everyone know that was a joke, by the way. Baby girl, stop throwing plates.
On a more serious note, yes. So there was another racist incident, racial abuse directed at a Porto player. This was Musa Marega, and I mean, this was the video. Obviously, is going viral. Everybody.
He used to play for this team.
Yes,
and now he doesn't. And apparently, he had been. I don't think this was the only instance.
So he was the side piece and got upgraded.
Right?
Okay.
Okay. So wow, they took you out on a Saturday night. Damn.
Wow, you must. It doesn't happen for all of us, you know.
You done leveled up. He did leave her. Wow.
Impressive. Anyway,
what does anyone take us seriously? So apparently he moves on to Porto. apparently had been receiving like sort of monkey noises a couple of times in the match. This wasn't the only instance, and he had enough of it. I think if I'm not mistaken, this was like the 65th minute. Yeah, just scored. And of course, well, someone said like he shouldn't have celebrated. Same thing that happened to Moise Keane. He shouldn't have celebrated in front of the other fan. Who cares where you celebrate?
Yeah,
dog?
exactly. Yeah.
Nothing is an excuse for you to be racist, okay?
Yeah.
No, but nothing you finish that sentence with is okay.
Yeah.
So he got that, and then somebody made monkey noises. He didn't like it, and he decided to walk off the field. And he was very vocal about it. He was flipping the bird. He was pointing at his skin.
And let's not lose sight of all the things that happened. I mean, yes, they were making monkey noises. There were a lot of jeering. Then they also started throwing chairs at him, especially after he scored. After he scored, he started pointing at his skin.
Right.
To kind of just obviously rub it into all the racists in the stands.
Right. So what you do, you flex harder.
So he did exactly that. And so this is, we've seen that. Like, this has been a common thing too many times, especially in Europe. But what happened after was that he basically requested to be subbed off. He was like, I'm getting off the pitch. And his teammates, this is where it really got the opposing team and his teammates did not want him to leave.
Right. Now, first of all, deplorable, right? You should be allowed to walk off if you're getting racially abused. I don't know what there was a black player on the other team who was trying to stop him.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what that conversation was. I'm wondering if it was the, hey, you let them win if you walk off, that kind of conversation. Whatever it is, you got to support the dude. Everybody, both teams should be walking off the field at that point.
Yeah.
Because that's not, if somebody's, you know what I mean? If you're another black player, you'd be like, I mean, you weren't doing it to me, right? I mean, you like me though, right? Like, no, that's not cool. That's not cool for anybody. If someone is being racially abused, I wish the entire team, in fact, the other team as well, would walk off. Zarek Valentin, who we've had on the show.
We have never had him on the show.
I thought we did. We talked to him. So
we
anyway,
met him.
Also,
yes.
no one's checking. You
I like
could have
to
let me
think
have
that
it.
conversations with other human beings is the show.
Well, I record everything, so just so you know, watch what you say around me, dog. No, but Zarek, who we've met before,
yes,
who apparently wasn't on the show. You're welcome to be on
That's his fault, though.
Yeah, you're welcome to be on it. He said, like, yo, if this happened and it was my team, we'd all walked off the field.
Yeah.
So, like, there is that's the camaraderie you should have.
Yeah, but there were just so many things that just were so poorly handled, right? Obviously, the referee.
You're supposed to stop the match.
You're supposed to stop the match. I mean, there's a protocol put in place. He was just completely ignoring it.
Yeah.
And you would think that by the time the chairs start being thrown at the player, that he thinks like, hey, maybe I should let's take a little time, little tickety timeout, everybody.
He gave Marega a yellow card. And he was like, how dare you not get hit by one of those chairs? They was aiming for you, dog.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't want this racial abuse, and why you take a yellow card for not accepting it, gladly accepting it.
Ridiculous.
Really disappointing. And again, you just hope that these things, at least you can't control the racial abuse, but some fans are going to be ridiculous, but if there's a protocol put in place, you would hope that they follow it.
Players walk off the field.
Yeah, that's it. All right, we'll be back, everybody. All right, everybody. Thank you again for sticking with us.
We did it, baby.
I mean, the level of faith that you show us, the Cooligans, and in Fubo Sports. I mean, really, just really impressive.
We're incredible, but we're happy that you are as well.
So thank you. Make sure you at Soccer Cooligans, follow at Fubo Sports, and subscribe to all the YouTube channels. All right.
Yeah.
So with that said, my name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans!